Welcome to the second hour of the AM show. Let's review the newspapers. Those who join us, Dr. Kwame Asasante is a political scientist and head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. And we have Dr. Jabri Mohammed. He's senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. Dr. Kwesi Ejiafo Abedu is a development analyst, and he's actually with me now, so we'll start there. Dr. Kwesi Ejiafo Abedu, good morning. Welcome to the show.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking. Yesterday was an interesting day in courts and in Parliament. I don't know which of them caught your attention, but I'd like to get into your thoughts for us this morning.
Very well. A very good morning to your cherished viewers and everyone listening to us as well. Yes, very interesting, especially with the swearing in of the new MP for Ablekuma North, Rabna, right?
Yeah.
I loved the words of the speaker, and I think they were very reflective. They gave a certain sober environment as to what is expected of a member of parliament and the need for her to listen to the needs of the people and address their needs. I think it was a good one, and so the message was not to me directed only at the new member of parliament, but to all parliamentarians. It was a good reminder, and I think any well-meaning parliamentarian who wished well for his or her people ought to go through certain kind of reflection and see what strategies that they can redevise to ensure that the welfare of the people is improved.
Well, thank you.
The bigger reflection that I want to give is
please,
really about the Mahama Care. Yes, sweetie, it's a very fantastic policy by all standard. It's a very fantastic intention by all standard. It's a good one. For me, anything that improves the well-being of the people, I am for it. And so for the president to think through this and think about people suffering from non-communicable diseases, and of course, to even contribute positively, add up to our current health system, which we all know is not really the best. It's a very good thing that we need to commend the president for. I have followed keenly the Obamacare in the US, and how good it's been so far. The only challenge, the only problem, which I want the president and the government to learn from, is how at a time the policy was being politicized just because a certain president's name, a certain president who came from a certain political party's name was used to promote the whole policy. And so I will admonish. Yes, we know that this policy is coming from President John Dramani Mahama, but just so knowing very well the kind of environment, the kind of political environment we find ourselves in, let's propagate the policy itself. Let's propagate the intent and everything that is embedded in the policy, and not necessarily the name that comes with it, so that if tomorrow President Mahama is no more and another president is there, the person wouldn't feel entitled or responsible for sustaining the policy. And so it's a good one by all standards, really, but it also tells us that, look, non-communicable diseases are becoming critical issues for us as a people. Today, a lot of young people, not just the aged, young people are suffering from stroke, diabetes, and all sorts of problems that initially people were even saying they are diseases for the rich or for the Western world.
Right. But Doc, are you suggesting that the name be changed? If it makes next administrations comfortable to keep it. There's a whole conversation we have to have about backing these development plans and initiatives by law, so that it's not that easy for the next or successive governments to change them, right? Are you suggesting that they change the name from Mahama Cares to something more sustainable, maybe?
Yes, I think that it has its original name. That I think there's something fund. I'm not too sure just to put the name, but the Mahama Care is the popular one that is used to propagate the policy, of course, which resonates easier, or which is likely going to resonate easier with people. And that
so we shouldn't call it Mahama Cares, I guess. You go with the policy rather than say Mahama Cares. Yeah.
Exactly. That's my
Okay.
thought.
Okay.
That's my thought
All
about
right.
that.
Well, thank you. I'm here with my co-uncle, and I think you are the first person to join us. So while we wait for the other guests, I will get into the newspapers. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. The story's on the front page. We're just talking about that. Law-backed development plan must be, or should be a must, according to Na and Danny, and that's his proposal. Children abandon school for marijuana farms in the Volta region. Shocking. I will get into that when I start getting to the papers proper. Graphic NIC GIA insurance fair tomorrow. Attorney General discontinues case against Dufour, 7 others, recovers required funds. And so let's start from there. Ghana needs a let's start from law-backed development plan, So Ghana needs a legally binding national development plan to break the cycle of abandoned projects and ensure sustainable development. Traditional ruler and former managing director of Stanbic Bank Ghana, Nal Hassan Andani, said a clear and legally binding national development plan was needed to guide the country's growth agenda. Tomorrow, we are going to be hearing from the finance minister, and already we are hearing about Agenda 111 projects, hospitals being abandoned, and some people are asking that, we're hoping to see whether or not some allocations will be made to complete those projects. And so for me, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I want to get to that story about children abandoning school to farm in marijuana, for marijuana farms. And that story is on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. Some basic school pupils in parts of the Volta region are now skipping classes to work as laborers on marijuana plantations for very low wages. The president of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, Togbi Teprehodo IV, has reviewed, and he described the situation as dreadful, saying the trend posed a very bleak future for the region. Before I even go to Dokojo, this is alarming, is it not? That basic school, when I first saw the headline this morning, I thought, these are maybe secondary school students, but basic school pupils abandoning school to go and, labor in marijuana farms? Yeah. Are they getting high?
I think that parents have a huge responsibility here, because when the child has not moved from the home to the school, it is assumed that the child is still under the care of the parent. Yeah. So how are the parents also checking that whether their children are in school or not? Or are they doing that with the blessings of the parents themselves? And if that is the case, what could be the rationale for a parent to say, abandon school, which is your future, and go and labor on a farm? I will not be angry with a parent who allows the child to go and labor on weekends. When I was young, I was farming with my mother. I wouldn't even describe it as child labor, because I was assisting my mother. I was not under any compulsion. But this is when it takes away the child from school. That falls within the definition of the child labor.
Exactly.
So I think that parents have a huge responsibility to check that. Again, I think leadership in the communities also have that responsibility to check it as well. Because when the children are young like that, I think we should not leave the management of the kids on the parents alone. We should go back to the state where the child was a child for every parent of the community. When I was growing up, I was not my mother's child alone. I was a child for several mothers and several fathers.
That's one of the things we are losing without recognizing.
Yes,
communal living, the way we grew up, If you were messing up in town, anyone had the right to
cane you. And come and tell your parent
these days, because
I saw your child here, he was misbehaving, and I whipped him or her. Your father will whip you on top of that.
We've lost it. But it's a good time to introduce our 2 other guests who join us. We have Dr. Jabri Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. And we have Dr. Kwame Asante. He joins us on phone. Dr. Kwame Asante, let me start with you. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. Good morning to you, of course, to my colleagues and the rest of our viewers.
Fantastic to have you. So, let me start with you, Doc. We just read a story about an appeal or proposal to back development plans by law so that it's easier to continue projects that are abandoned by erstwhile administrations, so successive governments can take on these projects. And then there's also another story about children in some parts of the Volta region who are abandoning school to labor on marijuana farms. And Kojo was just sharing his take on the matter. And I'm just thinking, even if they have the blessing of the parents, should you be laboring in a marijuana farm? But let me hear your thoughts on these stories, Doc.
Yes. Would you permit me to also...
Yes, please.
Give
Yes.
my views on some of the issues.
Yes,
Today,
please.
I want to look at the MPP by July 31st. They are opening up nominations for the presidential primaries. Congratulations to them. And let me also congratulate them for last week, delegate conference. They did it well. One of the things that is worth mentioning here is the framers of the Constitution who thought it wise that after every election, they will go and review their Constitution. I think it's a good thing because you might have experienced something in a regime that your party is in office. And then there is something that has gone wrong. It will inform you as to what you do. But that aside, I want to take this opportunity to advise them that very soon they are going to start campaign as to those who want to contest for the flag bearership race. I believe that they should, first of all, look themselves or consider themselves as a family so that the contest will be civil and decorous, without insult, without destruction, without character assassination. Because whatever candidate that somebody or they seek to destroy, at the end of the day, if he emerges as victorious, that person is going to stand in their name and campaign, and by which time the harm has already been done. They should take lessons from last election and then work very well and ensure that the campaign will be campaign of ideas, campaign of issues. Anybody who wants to go there on the altar of insult or through the vehicle of insult, attack, and the rest of them, you realize that that person is not fit for purpose. And for that matter, the people should reject it. Issue of ethnicity doesn't play any role in election in this country, and so is religion. So those who want to have fun, play the ethnic card, play religious card in MPP, I am telling them that if they go into the literature of voter choices, they will find that there is very little evidence in there. What really wins people the vote is your strategy, your message, your resources, and the way you organize your things. And I think I will rest my case here.
Thank you, Doc.
Now I'll move on to the issues you have brought up. The people and the working on marijuana farm.
Yeah.
That children who are going to be the future of this country are subjected to such ordeal. I am happy and I salute the Regional House of Chiefs who have noted this. And I will urge them to use all means possible to get these children back to school. Because we as a society should recognize that children are always the what we have, nothing more, nothing less. And whatever decision we take about them, let us make reference to the Constitution. It said it should be in the best interest of the child. What they are doing, is it in the best interest of that child or the children there? We should take note and then get them out. Let them go to school. Remember, basic education is free and compulsory. So whoever is keeping them there must be told that the long arm of the law will reach him sooner than later. And we as a society, starting from parents should know that their child development starts with them, and that the socialization process must continue, and make sure that we inculcate certain good values in them. Taking them out of classroom is no. The society must stand up against it so that we get the children back to school. But could you say something which has been with us over the years, where when we were little boys, our parents were all the parents in the society. And for that matter, if you did anything wrong, anybody could correct you. Today, that story has changed. And that is one of the reasons why we are seeing what we are seeing.
Right.
You could not go to school, in my case, at a Kropong, and then you go and buy food from the seller, and then the first thing is that I will buy meat or fish. It raises alarm. The woman has known that the money is the stolen money, and he will give you food, no fish, and come and report your conduct to your parents in the evening.
Right.
I tell you, that was the society where discipline was the order of the day. Let's come back to it.
Right.
Then,
right.
Well, if there are need for modification, we do. But leaving our children on marijuana farm, we are destroying their future. Plan, the development plan must be, we should implement that, particularly uncompleted projects of previous government. I think that's the second story.
Yes.
Yeah. It is one of the stories that have really been on my mind over the years. Because if you look at the kind of resources we spend in developing facilities or projects for this country, and only to find out that the new government is in office, they don't want to give credit to the old government that started the project, so they abandon it. That culture is simply uninformed culture. It is just simply not good. Why? Because if you read the Constitution, I think Article 35(7) tells us that any project which has been started by a previous government, the new regime should take up. We have seen a whole lot of buildings in the bush. Why are we doing this thing to ourselves when we have spent so much? I will urge the people of this country to insist that this regime, starting from this regime, will complete all the abandoned projects so that we can have value for money. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? And then let us not leave them and then go and start new ones. We should make sure that the old ones get completed and then before we start new ones.
Thank you, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. It's a good time to hear from Dr. Jabri Mohammed as well. And Doc, feel free to start with your initial reflections on any topical issue. And then I want to hear your thoughts on this children abandoning school for marijuana farms. And just, to give you a bit of details there, Togbi Hodo is saying that some of the children are offered the substance to smoke on the farms. And once addiction sets in, they will definitely drift off. And I'm quoting him here. And so he's calling on law enforcement to tackle this menace and nip it in the bud. Dr. Mohammed, your take now.
Then, Doc, before you come in, because of that new information, I said earlier that I wouldn't really begrudge a parent for allowing the child to go there on weekends. But to get to know that they are giving weed to the kids, as for that is a no-no. Then you don't even have to let them get close to it at all. If it was a cassava farm,
you bring some cassava home.
Yeah, but for we, and they are giving it to them there, that something has to be done. I think that those farms have to be dealt with. In fact, if there's evidence that that's what they do, they don't need.
There are about 2 chiefs who corroborated the story, so it's actually happening. Let's listen to Dr. Mohammed now. Doc, good morning, first of all. I think you're muted. Yeah. Okay, I think we have some technical challenge there.
Doc is trying to unmute.
Yes,
so,
yes.
So that
okay, so I'm going to go to Dr. Pakwesi. Okay, Doc, if you're muted, let's go. Let's hear you now.
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to our listeners. This morning, I just want to look at the scrapping of the COVID-19 levy. I just read somewhere in your news handles that the government is planning in the mid-year budget review to remove the COVID-19 levy, and this has been backed by the IMF. There was a purpose why the COVID-19 levy was introduced. If you could remember, at the beginning of this year, my argument was that why don't we pick that funding and take it to the Ghana Healthcare Fund, which is the emergency fund that we are trying to set up, because that is also still a challenge in terms of funding. And the bill that is laid before Parliament argued that they want to take 30% of the NHIS money to be able to fund that, in which some people have argued that it's going to still make like you are capping the NHIS to fund something, even though they are all both the same health conditions. But I think that since this one was already existing, even though the business community complained, this is a health issue. And I think that if we had rather take that levy, if we had rather rename that levy and make it the emergency fund levy, that would have been much better than going to the NHIS to pick 30% to finance that. Even though it comes like a parallel document with that of the NHIS, but I still believe that we can integrate both of them and continue to maintain that 1% and use it for that particular fund. And even if we have to get something small from NHIS to support it, that can be for a perpetual fund, because it is a fund that will not go off. People will continue to have kidney conditions, people will continue to have cancer conditions, etc. So I believe that we should look at it again and see how best we can rename that particular levy and use that to finance the healthcare program that we are introducing. And that will be a better way to support the country.
Doc, sorry, but just a clarification. I'm sure you're talking about the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. Fair
so
point.
Instead of scrapping the COVID-19 levy, let's rather use that levy to support that.
Okay.
All right, so let's hear your thoughts on the other stories. Sorry, I thought you were finished with that submission. But if you are, you can move on to the other stories that came from the Daily Graphic. Yeah.
Now, the children working in marijuana farms is about a matter of culture and a matter of, let's say, I don't know whether it is due to poverty or due to what. Because even if you want children to work at any point in time at all on farms, it should not be a place where it is even prohibited for other group of people to use it. Marijuana is used for medicinal purposes. It is being put into medicine and other things for production. But people tend to abuse it when you smoke it as it is. And that has a health implication on you and even have a danger, because when you smoke that, you can have a serious impact on people. So we even allowing children to go and work in such farms is a violation of their fundamental human rights, especially if they are supposed to be in school. You are introducing them into a substance that they aren't aware of the bad and the good side of it. The good side of it is just to generate income for people and also for medicinal purposes. But the bad aspect of it is when they smoke it, the influence it has on society. So I think that as a matter of agency, the state must act on this. The relevant authorities that are required to look into child labor and other related activities must look into this matter and ensure that proper sanctions are being meted out to people who have involved themselves in this. So anybody found in that particular act must be arrested, the person must be charged, and the person must be made to compensate the children, and at the same time, compensate the state for taking them to such farms to go and work. So I think that that's my candid opinion on it. We have to be strict for that, and that can help to resolve the problem. Now, on the matter of starting up, having a law to back existing projects started by a previous government, I think it's a very good call, because this would not have been a better time than now. In the past,
we are getting some interference in your sound, Doc. I'm not sure where it's come. Okay.
It's not my end. I think Pakosi.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the issue have to do with the state taking a very serious matter on it, because you see, you cannot start something, you have spent a lot of money on it, and at the end of the day, somebody else come and abandon it. Just look at the settlement housing project. When the previous government came into office, they abandoned the project. The project stood there and it was rusting. People were going there, removing the items, etc. I mean, it is not a good culture at all, because it is the taxes of the people that have been used to finance those projects. Why will you leave the project to get rotten because you didn't start it? And because you don't want to complete it, and the next government name is going to be on it. If you also look at the e-schools, the e-schools were left. Hospitals, cheap compounds, they were all left for almost 8 years. That is not a good culture at all. So we have to begin to put in strategic measures to ensure that anybody at all who starts any project belongs to the people of Ghana. And for that matter, if you take over government, you need to take a stock of everything and make sure that you work on it. I like the call of the education minister for the GET fund to look at all projects being financed at the education sector, give him a report on the infrastructure projects so that they continue those projects. That is a very good call. I think that every sector minister in this country must take that leadership, that stock of, existing projects, and ensure that all existing projects are completed. And that will be a good plus to the government. It will mean that the government is not wasteful. But the moment you allow it to lie down and rot, it means that you have joined the back wagon of the wasteful people. And the Ghanaians will show you when you go to the polls. So I think that the current government should look into that. Take a stock of all abandoned projects, value it, and tell Ghanaians that this was what was left behind. This is how much I need to continue it. Even if you come to the Ghanaian people and tell them that pay additional 1 Ghana cedi for me to use it to complete this project, they will be more than happy to do that. But the moment you then take a stock, you introduce additional taxes, and all those projects are lying down, and you come back to them and tell them that they should pay taxes. They will ask you that, what are you going to use the taxes for?
Okay.
This is why the people ask these questions. So let's begin to be responsible on these things.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure some Ghanaians will agree with you on that 1 cedi extra levy, but yeah, that's your opinion.
So I'm just giving an example.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, it's okay.
In the past, we have increased VAT from 12.5% to 15%. Did they explain to Ghanaians what they were going to use the money for?
Ah, well.
Absolutely no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So government can come at any point in time and slap you with taxes, and you have any qualms them to pay. But when the taxes are going to be used for something productive, the people will be willing to pay. That's what I'm just trying to say.
All right, thank you.
But I think I've always said that when people see that you're using the resources, for the right project, they're seeing good roads, they're seeing good schools. I think Ghanaians would automatically, pay the 1 Ghana.
Yeah.
When they see the money,
we see the value for the money.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me speak to Dr. Abeidu now. Doc, you are a development analyst, so I want to hear your expert opinion on this. From sugar factories to housing projects, we've seen so many abandoned projects because successive governments just can't complete them. I don't know if it's a matter of scoring political points or whatever. And so this is not the first time we are hearing for a call like this, that we should back these development plans with law. What would it take, in your experience or expertise, what is that catalyst that we need to actually make this, to materialize this big plan for Ghana?
Intentionality. Look, it is not by mere coincidence that Benjamin Franklin said that if you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. Planning is very essential for the development of any endeavor, any entity, being it at the household level, the community level, the national level, and any level that you can think of. Look, planning is not just about setting goals. It's not just about having the vision. In planning, within the planning framework itself, involve allocating resources, involve putting the right resources or the institutions in place, the people in place to execute the plan. It involves having control measures in ensuring that as you monitor the progress of the implementation, if there are any deviations, you correct them and then you put yourself back on that path of the vision that you have set yourself. And that is why, for me, any leader, any government who abandons a previous project, in a way, you are just trying to tell all of us that you don't believe in planning. Look, your argument can even be that the initial project, initial intervention that was implemented by the previous government probably was not thought through or was not well planned. But it's important that you put the structures down just to ensure that when that path is now created, any other person who comes in can just fill in or will just toe on that queue and then just follow the plan. This is the reason why the call to resource and to make the National Development Planning Commission relevant and one of the key institutions for this country cannot be argued in any way. Because then what it means is that whether it is NPP, whether it's NDC, let's put our visions that we have, what you think is so super that no other party can do. Let's put all of them in a document through the National Development Planning Commission. Let them have the plan for us. Then we can all drive our growth, we can all drive our development through the plan that will be set for us.
Well, Doc, I'm not cutting you, but you see, this debate or discussion about making the NDPC relevant was had not less than 10 years ago. I remember clearly when I was in Takrady, and during the time of Dr. Nimoy Thompson, when he was heading that particular organization, the argument was every political party has to develop its manifesto to tie into the development agenda of the country. You remember the 40-year development plan that was developed? That couldn't happen. And as we speak, we are still talking about that should be done. Really, when do we start? How do we start it? Who is to ensure that we get that done? Because if we don't do that, 10 years from today, we'll still be talking about the same thing. The NDPC will be there, but will be just ceremonial. Nothing really will be coming out of it.
Kojo, this is the reason why you and I advocate think tanks. All of us need to add our voice and see, even if there's a need for us to have a compact that political parties can sign so that anytime there's a deviation, we will tell you that, hey, this is the agreement, you are deviating, so kindly come back. This is something that we all have. The position will always try to find a way to be the position. But we have to put it in check.
Doc, I think we're having challenges with the feed from your end, so would have to. Okay, so I'm being told that you could, switch on your audio, just the audio for us. We'll be happy, so we can have, the clear sound that we want from your end, because you're making some cogent argument and want to follow it well. Okay, so whilst we work on that, let's bring in Dr. Asasante.
No, I think he's had his turn already.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to actually, add one more story, Kojo, before we come to you.
Okay.
There's a story here on myjoyonline.com, and it says, dismissed Ghana Gas staff decry unfair treatment, accuse management of partisan bias. A bit of details here. Some former employees of Ghana Gas have expressed deep disappointment over what they describe as unjust and politically motivated dismissals by the company's management. And, quote, partisan politics with the state infrastructure by terminating their contracts while reportedly recruiting others into the same positions they previously had. So you're letting some people go, yet you're recruiting them. So on what basis are you letting these other people go? And this is a very interesting story. I want us to discuss this and understand what we can do as a nation to secure people's jobs so that when successive administration, governments come, you don't lose your job. I want to start with you, Dr. Kwame Asasante. So this is at Ghana Gas. I don't know if I said that already. They are laying off some people, some workers, and they're recruiting more people as we speak. The workers are saying that it is politically motivated. And according to the former staff, they received termination letters signed by the chief executive officer informing them that their services were no longer required, a move that they believe lacks justification, particularly as the companies continue to hire new people. Doc, what do you make of this? Okay, do I have Dr. Kwame Asasante on phone with me? Okay. Hopefully we fixed Dr. Abeidu's sound and we can go back to him. But while we do that, or while we check, we have Dr. Jabri Mohammed online with us. Doc, I want to hear your thoughts on this Ghana Gas. And this is not the first time this year alone that we are seeing massive dismissals in government or state-owned enterprises and institutions. What do you make of it?
Well, Siti, I think that you remember before the December 7th election, and after the December 7th election, there was a pact that was signed between the political parties. And the argument was that after December 7th, you are not supposed to recruit anybody. into most of these state institutions. But the previous government defied the order and recruited a lot of people into most of these institutions. You remember a few weeks ago, we discussed the issue of the Bank of Ghana, where a significant number of people were sacked, and later on they were brought back to the place.
Yeah.
You and I know very well that this is a very bad practice. If you agree with one another and later on you tend to deviate from that particular principle, you put a pressure on the incoming government because they equally have a group of people to fix. Let's be realistic about it.
From my understanding of this story, the employees who are, whose contracts are being terminated were employed as far back as 2020, no? So this is not one of those situations where they were, employed right, in the last days of the Eswal administration. They were there as far back as 2020.
Maybe
just giving you another angle of the,
In some organizations, there may not be permanent employment. It may be on contract basis. So if it is on contract basis and your time is up, and they tell you that we no longer need your services, you have no cause to complain. All of us, me as a lecturer, I'm being recruited on contract basis. I was given a contract of 6 years. So if the 6 years elapses and the university don't see that I'm more productive as they may need, they can tell me that they no longer need my services and I have to pack off. Okay, so let's look into on what basis were they recruited. Were they recruited on contract basis?
No, they are permanent workers. They are permanent workers, yeah.
And a permanent worker is given a letter after work for almost 10 years that you are no longer needed. Then they have a case. They can take the case to court.
Okay.
And the court will deal with it. So if they are permanent workers, and unless, of course, they have some clauses in their letter that at any point in time, if the management feel that they no longer need your services, they can dismiss you or they can terminate your contract. And they have to give you a 6 months notice. It is stated in every letter that if they don't need you, they'll give you 6 months or 3 months notice, depending on the institution that you are working. So this is a matter of HR issues. Then I think that this should be handled properly. So let's look into what terms and conditions were they given.
Well, I mean, what's sad about this is the justification for the termination.
The ambition. They will look into your contract and say that, okay, fine, your contract, some of the clauses says that if at any point in time we no longer need your services or whatever it is, we will give you a notice of termination. So it is about the vision of the new administration, whether the people align with their vision or not. If they don't align with their visions, they're holding a managerial positions, and that managerial positions will interfere with the affairs of the new administration. They can invoke such a clause on you. So that is what they have done.
All right, thank you. I mean, if you look at a sample of the termination letter, which I think will be popping up on your screens in a bit, it says, we refer to our offer of employment letter dated so, and regrettably, we have to inform you that we no longer require your services in the capacity of community relations officer in the community relations department at the operational site Kumasi with immediate effect. For someone who's a permanent employee of an organization, I think this does not suffice. You need more than just my services are no longer needed. But I understand what you are saying, that there are means to seek redress. You can go to court if you think this is unfair and is politically motivated. Go to court. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
if it's politically motivated, you can go to court and seek a redress.
All right.
And I think that the court will be the best place to resolve the problem. We cannot sit here to resolve it.
Okay.
The court will resolve the problem for you.
Okay. Let me.
You remember that? In 2017, there was a story about how the Chinese who had constructed the setup were leaving, and Ghanaian engineers were the ones handling it, and that Ghana, the company was going to employ some 1,500 people, and these people have been able to manage the entity till now. So really, you ask yourself, why the termination now?
Yeah. But I mean, so I think I sort of align with what he's saying, that there are ways to fight this. So go there, go to court, seek redress, and you'll be satisfied. Let me hear the thoughts of Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante on this as well. And then, Kojo, I'll come to your paper. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, how does this story sit with you?
I'm not seized with all the facts, but if what we have heard is anything to go by, then I believe that there is some level of opportunity for them to go to the court, as my colleague Gabriel said, and seek redress, because there are rules governing this, that if you are going to be terminated, you'll be giving advance notice and the rest of them. And if that is what is in the condition of service, then there's a different story. But if what we are hearing on the face of it is anything to go by, then the people should not hesitate at all and head for court and seek redress. I think that is where the matter can be laid to rest.
All right, thank you. Dr. Abeidu, hopefully we have resolved your sound issue. You were going to talk, you were saying something about what it would take, the catalyst to actually change the status quo in terms of successive administrations or governments abandoning projects. Let's hear the concluding part of that submission and then your take on this matter.
I would do that.
It's still not working. All right, we'll come back to you later. Kojo, let's get into some papers from your staff.
Today, the people in Cape Coast don't want Dr. Abeidu to speak. Anyway, Doc, I hope that things are rectified from here and so we can hear you. But let's get into the Daily Guide newspaper.
Okay.
It says Supreme Court quashes 5-year Kevin Taylor arrest warrant. It's there with Kevin Taylor's picture. Nice-looking young man. Energy Ministry records 15.8 billion Ghana cedis irregularities, according to a report. AG frees Kwabena Duffuor. It comes with a picture of Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and Dr. Dominica Yina. MPP boycotts Ablekuma North. MP swearing in. It comes with a photograph of the minority leader, Alexander Afenyomaki. What's that title he has? He has a title now.
Does he?
Sahene. Sahene Alexander Afenyomaki. Mahama cares bail passed amid minority opposition. And a bit of details of the AG freeze Kwabena Duffuor. It says the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominica Yine, has entered nolle prosequi in the trial of the founder of Unibank Ghana Limited, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, and 7 others for their role in the collapse of the bank. This, according to a statement issued by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Rimsai, followed a significant 60% recovery of the total amount lost through the actions of the accused persons. So we have AG freeing Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, Supreme Court question 5-year Kevin Taylor arrest warrant, MPP boycotting Ablekuma North swearing in, Mahama bill passed amid minority opposition, Energy Ministry records 15.8 billion irregularities. Dr. Asah-Asante, let's start with you. These are the issues. Your take.
I'll look at the 15.8 billion irregularities.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the government must pay attention to this sector very well, because you see, we don't have resources. The little that we have, it gets slipped through our fingers, and it's cause for worry that every time we're struggling, and the little resources that we have, and we use it in organization, we are not able to manage them well, and we are not able to ensure value for money. This is no good news. And I think the earlier we took a decision on some of these things, the better will help us to address our financial problems. I will also move on to the boycott of the ceremony, of Madam Eurabra Oben. It is normal in Parliament that when a decision is being taken and you are not comfortable with, or it's not in sync with what you believe in or your party believe in, common sense demands that you leave the floor and let the process continue. Nobody will fault the minorities within their right to do so. And the good news is that the woman has been sworn in and Parliament is sitting. It's the beauty of all this. I respect both positions, But what I look forward to is that the woman, as has come to Parliament, must be able to work and work well, and so as to provide the needs of the people. The confidence that they propose in her, she should be able to deliver on that promise. Otherwise, the next election, the people will want to show her the door.
Okay. What about the AG freeing Kwabena Dufo, because he's been able to, the state has recovered 60% of the money. I mean, is that a good precedent to set?
I must say that I'm not seized with all the facts about these whole controversy about the bank and how it ended and all that. So I want to stay away from this. Normally, I want to have full facts so that when I speak with the bank. Okay.
I mean, the fact is that Dr. Dufo and 8 others were standing trial before a high court in Accra for the alleged, quote and unquote, dishonest spending of over 5.7 billion cedis belonging to customers and investors of the insolvent private bank, now defunct. Apart from Dr. Dufo, the former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama, who's now the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Kwabena Dufo II, Eko Nyako Dadze Dennis, Elsie Danswa Chire, Jeffrey Amon, Benjamin Ofori, and Kwajo Poku Oku were all on trial. They were facing a total of 68 charges, including fraudulent transactions and money laundering. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges and were granted bail. Unibank Ghana Limited, a private bank founded by Dr. Dufo, who once served as governor of the Bank of Ghana, was one of the insolvent financial institutions that was closed down by government during the banking sector cleanup exercise between 2017 and 2018. Does that suffice for you?
It's still difficult.
Okay.
This thing, in fact, ever since they started, I have not followed it.
Okay.
And the little in the news, I'm not sure will be enough for me to be able to digest it and articulate my position.
Right.
Sure,
so this one, I want to see out.
So we can bring in Dr. Jabril. He is a business person. So, Doc, your point on this, do you think it is right that the state tries to recover some of these monies? Or, as people say, well, he should have been made to face the full trial. At the end of the day, the verdict that the court will deliver is what will matter to Ghanaians. Where do you stand on the two arguments? Dr. Jabir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yes.
Yeah, the argument says that the embezzle about 5.something billion Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
And that they have recovered 60% of it.
Sure.
Which means that we still have about 2.something billion outstanding that has not been recovered. Mm-hmm. And right now they are freed. It means that they are going on free. They are going away with 2 billion, which means that even not only 2 billion, if you should do the time value of money, the time that they misappropriated the money, the time that they paid the money, and now that they are going away with 2 billion, it means that it is a lot of money that they have gone away with, not just more money. If as a finance person, if I want to quantify that, I would say it's even more than the 2 billion that we're talking about. Okay. So as a matter of agency, maybe the court is not seeing any more merit in the case, and that the recovery that they have done perhaps might have been substantial enough to warrant them to go. But in my candid opinion, I still think that they could have done better. Maybe continue to try the case till the end of the case so that we know where the case actually lies. But the moment you acquit and discharge them, it means that they sin no more, and you cannot hold them any responsible at any point in time unless somebody else come back and retake the case back to court to continue the case. Okay. But then I think that, you see, the banking crisis brought in a lot of challenges in our banking sector. And these challenges up to now is still living with us. You remember that the Bank of Ghana bailed them out. Some of the banks, struggling banks, after the 2015 asset quality review, some of the banks were actually supported with funding from Bank of Ghana to shore up their liquidity position. And if after some time, the liquidity that they show up, they could not find that money, they could not find customer deposit, and now here is a case, you are telling them that they should go and see no more. It means that anybody at all can also open a bank at any point in time, defraud clients, or do anything at all, and go scot-free. So I think that we should have handled this matter very, very well. And all other matters related to the banking crisis, I was thinking that this new government will have looked more into it and dig out more issues. Even the previous government itself spent a lot of money for the cleanup exercise. We end up not seeing any good effort that came out of it because we still have some of the financial institutions continue to struggle. So I was thinking that they would have launched a comprehensive analysis of that sector to see whatever at all the previous administration has done, to see whatever at all led to the collapse of most of these banks, so that we don't repeat the things that we had in the past. So, you know, this is a delicate issue because look at the caliber of people involved. The current governor and the likes of the four, my own friend, what they call ECHO and others, are all involved in this particular case. So it is a very dicey matter, which actually have to be look at it properly. So if they are only acquitted and discharged on the basis of a merit of the case, then that holds. But if they are acquitted and discharged, and people still have the doubt as to why they were acquitted and discharged, to me, if I were to be them, I would have followed the due process to the end, so that at the end of the day, whatever verdict the court gives, then that would have been a better case to handle. I think that's my...
Okay. When you were speaking, I was just doing the calculation of the money. So they will still have around 2.28 billion that has to be paid out of the 5.7 billion that we're
so I was telling you that if you want to quantify time value of money, just look at the time that this incident happened. It happened somewhere 2018 or so, or 2017 thereabout. So up to now, we have had about, let's say, 6 years or so years. So even if you pick it at a value of risk-free interest rate at that time, let's say even 15%, quantify, just find the time value of money, 2.2 billion up to now, 7 years for 15%. You realize that this money will not be small money.
Wow.
If they had invested the money elsewhere, they will have been fabulously rich by now.
Yeah, I get it.
But is that a strategy that we should adopt going forward? And I can reference the ambulance saga, the controversy surrounding the money, whether or not. Go ahead.
Yeah, you finish with your
I was wondering, should we be focusing on jailing these people who have plunged the state into some sort of financial loss, or should we be focused on recovering the money from them?
No, you see, it should be both. You recover the money, you punish the person. If you only recover and allow the person to go scot-free, people know that I can go and still be more intentional, be more strategic in investment, recoup my investment. When they come, I pick part of the money that I have stolen to repay back and still keep my investment. It's as simple as that. But if I know that if they come, one, they are going to take all the money, charge me interest on it, take all the interest and imprison me, will I have the incentive to steal?
Okay.
There is something in development economics, we call it, what do you call it? The economics of crime. In economics of crime, if the marginal benefit is going to outweigh the marginal cost of stealing, you go and steal. But if the marginal cost is higher than the marginal benefit, you will not steal. If you go to Saudi Arabia and other places, the marginal benefit of stealing, the cost is very high, because when you are caught, you can be killed.
Right.
So if you can be killed, will you want to go and steal? So you realize that the marginal benefit is smaller as compared to the marginal cost. So you will not go and steal. These are some of the measures we have to put in place.
Points made. Thank you. Should I get into my paper now?
No, I want to pick their thought on the Supreme Court question 5 year, Kevin Taylor arrest warrant. the Supreme Court yesterday set aside a 5.5-year-old warrant issued for the arrest of controversial social media commentator Kevin Taylor, who had said some derogatory things about a High Court judge in the judiciary. The court, in a 4-1 majority decision by a 5-member panel presided over by Justice Isifo Omaru Tanko Amadou, held that the warrant was issued without due process. I think we still have Dr. Jabir on the line. Do we still have Dr. Asante? Okay. Okay. Do we have Dr. Asante? Okay. So let's bring in Dr. Jabir. Doc, what do you make of this? I'm sure you followed it. Yesterday was one of the issues that were the talk of town. What do you make of this decision by the Supreme Court? After the High Court judge issued that bench warrant for the arrest of Kevin Taylor in 2020, who was then domiciled in the United States. The Supreme Court today says, well, the warrant was issued without due process.
You realize that Kevin Taylor has been on the wanted list for a very long time. And that is because he was so critical about the previous government way of handling things. So, and if you look at the case, people say he was not given a fair hearing. He was not even in the court to answer any question. And you issue a warrant against him because he has spoken against you. And for me, that isn't anything fair to the gentleman. He should have been given a fair hearing. And at the end of the day, if the court finds that he's guilty, then he can be given a warrant of arrest.
Okay.
If you look at the cases of others currently existing, they have noticed that they have a case by the special prosecutors and others, and they are given a notice of warrant of arrest. That is a different case altogether. Rather than someone from talking on social media and you said that the person has had the contempt of the court because the person said something against you. So you had the contempt of the court, and for that matter, such a person should be arrested and so forth. I believe that he should have given a fair hearing. I think those who argue on that case is of good essence. Just like me, I'm speaking here. Then you come and say that I have done something on contempt of court, and you have not asked me to come to the court to defend myself, and you issue a warrant for me to be arrested or something of that nature. Can you believe that? Does it connote freedom of speech and others? Even though Kevin Taylor said certain things that were not good, for me, it's not all the things that he said that were right. There were others he said that weren't right. That doesn't mean that he should not be given a fair hearing. He should be given a fair hearing, and if the appropriate sanctions are up to be given to him, then it should be given to him.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to try Dr. Abeidu one more time and see if we can get his thoughts on all these stories from Kojo's stack of papers. Dr. Abeidu.
Hi, sweetie. I hope you can hear me this time.
Loud and clear. Thank God. Okay, let's get into it.
Thank you. Right. So I'll just make a quick comment on Kevin Taylor's issue.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't have that acumen to talk so much about it. But for me, the ordinary Ghanaian public perceive this whole thing as part of the politics that we are doing. And for me, that is where I have a problem. We need to be careful, we need to be mindful, so that some of these trajectories, we don't set some precedent that tomorrow we cannot answer very well when it comes to fairness, justice, and all the issues that comes with our democratic dispensation. That's the reason that I want to talk about that. But going back to the Ghana gas issue, the employment, the Ghana gas employees who were sacked.
Yeah.
Sweetie, look, some of these issues, I want us to look at them really from the underlying issues. What are the fundamental causes or the pull and push factors leading to these problems? Okay, so my question is, why Ghana gas and not, for example, Social Welfare Department? Why Ghana gas and not the other public sector institutions, Ghana Education Service or something? It tells you that there are some sugars, there are some honey out there with some of these state institutions. Ask any average unemployed Ghanaian in Ghana, where do you want to work? And listen to the institution that they're going to mention. Okay? They will mention Ghana Water, they will mention ECG, they will mention Ghana Gas, and all the other institutions that you're talking about. What is there? So we need to understand these underlying issues. Look, the politician, before coming to power, has promised so many of, most of the young people that, help me. When I win, I can help you. I'll fix you into these institutions, the Ghana Gas and the rest. So there's this kind of social contract, which is already existing before they come to power. When they come, there's that compelling force to ensure that they also, do their part of the contract. And so they are compelled to put their people in there, even when the place is choked. And so they will have no option than now to look at those whom they think are not aligning to their political, inclination or whatsoever, and then push them out and then get their people in. This is where the problem is. So we need to go down to the entire public sector structures. What are the incentives out there that are not in the other institutions that is making people go to Ghana Gas and these institutions and not the others? These are the things we need to analyze and understand, so that if not, we'll go. People will be employed, they'll go to court, and what happens? We'll just be recycling this problem, and then the fundamental issues will still be there.
All right. Well, thank you. I wish we had more time to probe further, especially in terms of exactly what should have been contained in that sack letter, dismissal letter. That would have made sense to the employees. You don't just tell me that my services are no longer needed. What kind of, excuse my French, hogwash is that? Anyway, so just some headlines from this. I have a lot of papers here. We can't get into all of them, but I do want you to know what's trending out here. So on the news center, Ashanti NPP backs Coca to replace Wuntumi. ECG bleeds billions. We've talked about this already. 5.7 billion Ghana cedi case against Dr. Dumfor's son, others dropped. On the Custodian newspaper, Presidency acts on Anodom press call. Minority to meet Mahama July 24th over issues of great public concern. We all cannot wait to hear what these concerns are that the minority has. And NPP to pursue sweeping financial reform agenda. And on the... Which other paper do I have here before we wrap up? The Accra Times has these stories. Unite for regional transformation. Mahama Yarega urges Northern MPs. Zaneto appointed to Pan-African Parliament. That's a very controversial story around that one between Madam Apieje and Minority Leader Akwenyo Makin in terms of who was appointed or who was recommended to go to the Pan-African Parliament. She's written back to the Speaker saying that respectfully she cannot accept that assignment. And so the right person to go is Akwenyo Makin. Anyway, so...
If my boss is there, why send me the deputy to go?
Interesting days ahead, Kojo. Interesting days ahead. Do not allow NDC attacks to weaken NPP, according to Osahin Akwenyo Makin. So these are some stories in the papers this morning. Pick a copy for yourself and get into them. Could you have some papers that you want to give us?
The Daily Gist, it says Dufour goes home with 5.7 billion Unibank cash. Kevin Taylor walks free after Supreme Court cautious arrest warrant. ECG blows 75 million Ghana cedis on Haftel without contract. Dubik fingered. Minority petitions Mahama for meeting on Thursday. So those are the stories.
Okay.
And again, one interview we did over the weekend. MPP Abanga indicts, he did. But I'm sure they did this interview somewhere, but this guy spoke to us over the weekend, says MPP Abanga indicts twin brother, NDC Abanga, in Galamsey deal. So MPP Abanga, NDC Abanga.
Anyway, folks, thank you so much. Dr. Pakwesi Eduafola Beidu is a development analyst. He joined us. Doc, thank you. Dr. Kwame Asasante is a political scientist and the head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He also joined us. And of course, Dr. Jabri Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. Gentlemen, have a good morning. Right, and that's our time for the news review segment. When we return from the break, we'll take you straight into our big stories. Please stay.